A 7¼ inch gauge Sweet Williams steam locomotive, this one is part 43, successfully fitting the cladding and boiler bands to the boiler barrel without marking the paint. This job was difficult and took a lot more time to complete than you're about to see in this short video. The difficulty is fitting these two pieces of cladding without marking the paint. I would like to say before any experts write in to tell me how to do it, that I never make cladding in two halves like this, because it is very difficult to fit without marking the paint. And I'm doing this job single-handed as usual, inasmuch as there's only myself in the workshop. The first part of the job involves getting both sides of the cladding to line up with the boiler bushes that are for the check valves. I would normally make a cardboard template of the entire thing, then accurately transfer the shape of the cardboard template to a piece of sheet metal which can then be rolled and fitted around the barrel. Apart from the ugly gap at the top and bottom, the worst part of making the cladding like this is putting it together, because if I let go of it, it just falls down, and that would mark the paint. My logic told me to fit a temporary loose band that could be adjusted in the centre to hold the parts together. I used an extra long bolt, so this band really is loose. Now all I need to do is tighten it somehow. And yes, it appears to be okay. I don't quite get the idea of having the cladding sitting onto the smoke box, but that's the way it is. So now the problem of paint chipping is trebled. As well as the paint on the two halves of cladding, now I have to be careful not to chip the paint on the smoke box either. This was something I didn't think through. At this stage I couldn't really let go of the cladding and I needed a piece of wood, but luckily right behind me I saw a piece of mahogany by the bandsaw. Unfortunately though, in its current form it's too long and it's not thick enough. But by placing this in position, it holds everything together to allow me to go elsewhere in the workshop and find a more suitable piece. At this stage I was really worried about marking the smoke box, so I thought it would be a good idea to fit the front band properly. It's quite a warm day today, and I really am very hot. But to be honest, the amount of sweat that I'm generating is really the nervous tension from doing this very fiddly job. And now it is top tip time. Once I'd fitted the front band, I found a suitable piece of mahogany that was wedge-shaped, so I used the wedge to elevate the bolt that's holding the centre band together. This tightened the cladding. With that piece of mahogany securely in place, I used an Allen key to tighten the bolt which pulls the front boiler band tightly together. Once I'd done that, I moved the piece of mahogany from the wedge-shaped part to the parallel part, and now the boiler band in the centre is holding it very securely. One of the original bolts for this boiler banding was a machine screw, so I saw no reason not to use it, and it's actually easy to fit the band using a screwdriver. Before the band is fully tightened, I rotate it so that the screw is right at the bottom. So far so good, no damage to the paint. The front boiler band is tight, and I need the rear boiler band to also be tight. This should hold the cladding in place. And here I'm removing the centre boiler band to fit the correct bolt. This band, like the front one, uses an Allen bolt. The fixings on this engine are a mixture of BA and metric. These Allen bolts are metric, and once again, before tightening the band securely, I rotated it and moved it into the correct position with the bolt underneath. Then I repeated the process for the fourth band. In case you're wondering what's with the water on the smoke box, well, that is sweat that's dripped off me. As I mentioned earlier, I found this to be a really nerve-wracking job, and it made me very hot. It's not physically difficult, it's just the mental stress of doing a job like this, because if it goes wrong, I would have to backtrack considerably to repaint the parts. Thankfully, by taking great care with the job, I didn't do any damage to the parts. All I need to do at this stage is finally tighten the bolts underneath the barrel, which in turn further tightens the boiler bands. The builder of this locomotive made two very massive side tanks for it, and it's quite ugly. Yesterday Simon Hudson and Billy Stock from the Steam Workshop visited me to collect my large Showman's engine. which very shortly will be for sale on the Steam Workshop website. And as we were talking, Simon said he did have a complete but unpainted saddle tank for a Sweet William, and it remains to be seen whether Simon can remember where it is in the Steam Workshop. And that is it for this episode. Stay safe, stay healthy, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my main Steam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.